Hello, I'm Drawlords, and today I'm showing you one of the videos that I made while I was away from YouTube for a couple of months. I was planning to upload this video during that break, however I feel that the end result didn't really turn out as carnagey as I wish it did. I'm also uploading this so that I have a little bit more time on the Smaugust prompts from last week, because I had a very busy week so I didn't manage to finish all of them for today. So that video will be uploaded in a couple of days once I've finished all of the dragons for that week. For me, the sketching this dragon was really loose, and I really enjoyed how free it made me feel with the design of this dragon. And my only wish was that I went even more into the Carnage sort of symbiote aesthetic instead of just using the colours and a couple of different aspects like tendrils and stuff. I feel like I could have gone even more into that aesthetic and just made it much more representative of what Carnage would be like. And as I said, this was done during the period when I was sort of away from YouTube for a couple of months. So I think I can see this was done sort of at the start when I was planning to upload this, but in the end I didn't, because I didn't particularly like how it turned out in the end. But I think you can see the difference between the sketches now and some of the sketches in, for example, that Smaugust video. And you can also see how I wasn't as loose with my sketches in some of the ones that didn't turn out well, and I think that's the main reason that that those didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. My favourite thing about this dragon is the wings. I find that they turned out really cool, especially in the colouring, which we'll get to later. But I think that these sort of skinny wings looked almost bat-like and made me really like the way it turned out. It also looks similar to Popcross Studios' Wyverns, which when I was drawing this, I had his sort of drawing style in my mind, and I found that really helps get a really cool wyvern design, because he does a lot of wyverns, but obviously this is nowhere near as good as his, especially in the level of detail. I feel that this dragon is severely lacking in detail. Here you can see that I'm doing lots of sort of curvy lines and then just erasing them later. I feel that just helps me get a lot freer with the wings especially, and make them look like wings. Adjusting the neck here I think was a mistake. I think that the overly long neck really lent itself to a more interesting design, and this kind of made it much more normal and much more like a typical wyvern design. I also think that these sort of frill things are kind of lazy on my part. I feel like I could have done something way cooler and way more venomy or carnagey. And overall I think this dragon could have had much more detail, and again just lent into the Carnage aesthetic much more, rather than just having it in the end be a red dragon with some tendrily bits. Make it more of a Carnage dragon. And that is the main reason I didn't upload this originally. I felt that it didn't really feel to me like a Carnage dragon. It was more like a dragon that could be loosely based on Carnage. But here is my favourite part. I start with a very vibrant colour, but then I decide to go much darker, which I think was good. And then I add in even darker shadows. But then I also add in a more saturated red colour, and this made sort of an ombre throughout the wing, which looks really cool to me. The other wing, I kind of did the same thing. However, I used slightly different colours because I forgot to put the colours down onto the page unedited so that I could colour pick them later. So it turns out much lighter than the other one, but it gets the same effect, so I don't think that's too bad. In the colouring of the body, it really highlights how simple this dragon is in its lack of detail, because when it's all just one colour and not just white, you can really see how everything is really just the same. And the way to fix that would have just been to put more detail into the dragon. but by this stage I'd already committed to colouring it, so I decided just to carry on. I will be up to doing another one. After Smaugust I will probably do at some point another Carnage dragon, because I think it's a really cool concept, and I quite like how this turned out, except for the fact that it's super simple. And I think that now, being more comfortable with the digital media, and as you can see here, I'm not really being that experimental with my highlights, and they're very conservative. I feel like now I can be more loose with my highlights and shadows and make them much more dramatic and much more decisive and overboard, because I recognise that now it actually makes the piece look better because there's more contrast, and it also makes it look even more detailed than it actually is. Then I go on to the tail. This was probably the trickiest bit to colour in, because it was so complicated with all the different strands going together, so I decided just to go over everything and then delete everything else that's not inside the dragon with the polygon select tool. Then once I deleted everything, I just go over with a basic level of shading. I think that if I'd been more adventurous with my highlights and shades, I could have made this dragon's sort of sleek design pop a lot more and actually look like an intentional sort of design feature where it's very minimal in its details. However, this was before I was experimenting, and I feel like if you look at some of my more recent dragons, especially the zombie one from last week's Smaugust, you can see a lot more shading and highlighting that goes a lot different from the base colours of the dragon. And here is how the dragon turns out. Again, I think it could have been a lot better if I'd been more focused on a lot of different things. However, I don't think it looks too bad, so that's why I'm uploading it here. Anyway, that's the end of the video. Make sure to check out the Discord that's linked in the description below, and I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.